viewers, welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. So it's getting ready to head out for the day and go home, and a tow truck showed up with this pig right here. It's a 2002 LeSabre. The guy had actually called me earlier on it. He's from Buffalo, so it's several hours away, and the car broke down. He took it to a AAA repair shop, so he told me.
Authorized repair facility.
Authorized, and they quoted him on ignition module, 2 ignition coils, something with the intake manifold leaking coolant, new plugs and wires, and that's what they told him. I guess the price was pretty inflated, and it was cheaper to have it towed here. Wow. So when the tow truck showed up, Ivan showed up, and I was just going to go home and work on this on Monday, because today's a Friday. But
where's the fun in that?
Yeah, but being that he's here, I thought maybe, it's been a while since we've done a video together. It's a 3.8. They're relatively simple systems. It does run like poo. I started up to bring it in. It reeks like gas. So we're going to check it out. If you guys don't know Ivan, he runs the Moto Yam 82 channel, has a fantastic library of diagnostic stuff, big into scope usage, diagnosis. So I'll put a link to his video up in the little thing here, down in the description box. So if you don't know, if you haven't checked him out, check out his channel and see what he's got to offer. And in the meantime, we're gonna see what's going on with this. The money light's on, it's flashing naturally because it runs so poorly. So probably first step, see what the ECM is telling us, get some direction, and then we'll go at it.
I got a question. How did this guy from Buffalo find out about your shop?
It's actually his kids. So this guy is my normal customer, the dad.
Oh, okay.
And then his boy, apparently, I don't know if he goes to school there. I don't see any college stickers on it.
He's a local customer.
Yeah, I've done some repairs for him. He actually, the reason I have him as a customer is he was using another local shop, and they chibackled one of his cars. Actually, the waveforms I was just sharing with you earlier, that was from his other Buick.
Oh, okay, so he's a Buick guy.
Yeah, so they had another car at another shop, and they threw a bunch of parts at it. He brought it here, then
you fixed it, right?
Well, yeah, I fixed it, and then it's kind of a long story, but I'll give it real quick. So I fixed that car, and then he actually had his other car at the same shop. They chibackled that one too, and I ended up getting that one after that. So I kind of gave the guy a double whammy right in a row. And now,
customer for life, then.
Yeah, now he just comes here, so that's
smart, man.
Yeah, so that's good questions.
That's why he's here. Okay.
All right, so let's get started. All right, so we're gonna pop into the powertrain, go to trouble codes, read codes, probably a bunch of misfire codes, I imagine. Like I said, the light was flashing when I was trying to pull it in, but I had to keep it stuffed right to the rug.
He had two
Yeah, 2 foot, yeah. Let's see, current codes. I don't know, PO 300.
That's his problem. Oxygen sensor.
Yeah. Well, all right, so we're gonna call up Advanced Auto. We're gonna order an oxygen sensor for it. That's what it says it needs.
How many plugs and wires for 300?
So anyhow, we don't have any more information here. What we already know, the engine's misfiring. It's obvious. O2 heater circuit, not really concerned about. So, oh no, it's a circuit low voltage, sorry, not a heater code, but anyhow, let's check out this misfire. So I'm hop inside here, make sure it's in park, see if we can get it running again. You gotta kind of hold your foot down on the accelerator about halfway. Oh, it's actually gonna idle. Let's go out here and have a look. So we can hear the misfire. Oh yeah, smells good.
Smells good, huh?
That smells good.
Injectors are working then.
The injectors are working. So it might be hard to see the engine tremoring, but.
So how many cylinders do you think are dead right now? At least 2.
Yeah, I'd say 2. The shop he took it from said 4. They told him this coil's dead, and the ignition module is dead. I'm not sure how they tested it because I don't see where any of these have been taken off. And I'm not sure how you can check the output of a module without pulling the coil. So I don't know if you guys could hear it when the car was running, but I was mentioning Ivan that, in order to check these modules, the output of the module, so they plug into the bottom of these coils, the only way that I know how to do it is to remove the coil.
So it's a 2-pin coil.
That's correct.
It's a power feed, and then the module pulses the control side.
And that'll be the primary side of your coil.
Right.
So you got your secondary side, there's your waste spark. So the only way to test this module is you can check the inputs. So you can check, crank, all that stuff coming into the ignition module. But the only way to check the output of the module to the primary side of the coil is to remove the coil.
Right.
So
I'd say the first test, we'll pull a scanner Danner test and I say take all the plug wires off and crank it over and see which one's sparking and which one's not sparking.
yeah, and typically on these systems, wave spark, those two coil towers,
Yeah, so you can pop these guys off.
yep, they will shoot a spark from tower to tower.
Yep.
So we'll get them
So
pulled
that
off.
you'll see, look for spark there. Get all these pulled off.
The shop did tell them it was all original wires, which that appears to be true.
Yep, Delphi.
Yeah, I see they're all numbered.
All right, so.
All right, I'll get you guys set up. We'll crank it over. Ready?
Should I touch the towers?
That's the easiest way to do it.
Wear latex gloves. All right, looks good to me. We got one dead coil.
Middle one?
This guy right here.
Oh, really?
Not the middle one.
Oh man, 99% of the time it's the middle ones.
Yeah. So what's quick and dirty? What do you want to do? Just swap them around?
Little Swaptronics.
What was that, like a 7mm?
Yeah, I think they're 5.5, but I'm just looking at the heads of them. They're looking a little.
Oh, hammer. Next size, smaller socket.
So the easiest thing to do, assuming the screws come out, is swap the coils. Now, oh, there she goes. Yeah. What this will tell us is if our ignition module is junk or if the coil's junk, see, you did a video, was this on a 3.8, the video you did?
Yep.
So,
It might have been a 3.1. Oh, it was a 3.8, yeah.
3.8. So Ivan did a video on a 3.8 that had no spark on 2 cylinders. Mm-hmm. And what the deal was there.
We don't want to ruin it for him. You should make a link to the video.
Yeah, check out the video. It's got a pretty unique problem. It was at a shop, right?
Did I make a video on that one?
I can't remember if you did.
Oh man, that might have been just a diagnosis, not a video, but.
Okay, so you think you got a video on it?
I'm trying to remember now. I have some good scope captures.
Oh, okay.
I can pull up on the Varus and show them.
Yeah, so that had a pretty unique problem. We'll look before this video is over to see if he did a video on it. If not, we'll tell you what was wrong with it because that one was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So you can see there, these 2 pins here. So one of these is going to be full-time power. So if we check it with a scope on a rope, we're going to have power, and then the other is going to be the control side from the transistor inside the control module. Come on, baby. You guys might watch me break the head off this right on camera. There's really not much you can do when these screws are seized up. You can put out 14 foot-pounds on them, that's about it. You know how much you can put out with your wrist?
I usually use my little impact knife.
No.
You know, unless you hold it on there and for a long time, it doesn't snap them.
I'm only good for 14 foot-pounds.
14 foot-pounds
yeah,
right there?
that's what I've measured.
That's your safety torque?
No, that's as much as I can spin in my hand.
Well, yeah.
So I know if it breaks, 14 foot-pounds broken. Before I had arthritis, I could do about 18.
Calibrate your wrist so you can torque it to spec.
That's right. Well, we torque everything to spec, you know that.
Absolutely.
So.
Just wait for the click.
Yeah. So I guess the point I was getting at is, when we swap this, if we don't have spark, we can't immediately condemn the ignition module because the late Dave DeCourcy always said in his seminars was garbage in, garbage out. So if you got crap coming in the module, you got crap coming out.
You got to worry about the inputs for sure.
All right, so there. Got them out without breaking the screws.
Fantastic.
So now we'll swap coils.
Yep.
You don't have to screw them down, doesn't matter. They're not grounded or anything like that.
So nothing wrong with little Swaptronics in your diagnosis,
That's right. That's quicker than most anything. So we're gonna crank it over now. Ready?
Yep, go for it. All right. So this is gonna be more interesting than just a bad coil.
Oh yeah?
So it's still no spark on this guy.
Still no spark. Fantastic.
So AAA.
Made the wrong call.
Well, at least partially. It doesn't need any
Yeah.
coils at this point.
Yep. So that was pretty quick and dirty. Coils are good. We know that. Now we're going to move on to ignition control module testing.
Favorite tool?
My favorite tool.
Coming up.
We'll go get her. Pay attention, guys. Toolbox tour time. You guys always want it. We do it one drawer at a time. Have to find my test slate. Well, that ain't my test slate.
What is that?
That ain't my test slate. There's the old girl. There she is, down here in the test light section. Here's one a viewer sent me. Brand new, extra long.
Eric, I think I know a good use for this guy.
Oh, for God's sake.
Make sure the car doesn't roll away.
Gotta make sure the car doesn't roll away.
Right?
So
we're gonna get a
handy dandy scope on the rope. You do have the wheel chock, so that's safety
just
third.
in case parking brake doesn't work and decides
Yeah,
to
that's
roll
true.
away.
That's good, man. I'm glad you're thinking like that.
That's right. You gotta improvise.
All right, so Ivan's hooking up the ground side of the test light to the alternator case. He's going to test his equipment on the battery positive. Test light works.
Yep.
I'm going to turn key on and
Just key on, yep. So we want to see if we have power. We actually do have power on this lower pin.
Okay.
And now we're going to go from battery positive and see if the test light lights up. But we don't need to do that because the coil doesn't work.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
But just for video's sake.
Yep. So typically, I guess just for demonstration
We
purposes.
can actually do a good comparison versus a bad. So key still on.
Yep, key's still on. Yep.
So we should have power here and here.
Yep.
All right. And from battery positive now, test light works. So on a no good, if you crank it over, we should see the test light pulse.
Yep. You're away from that spark plug, right? I mean, that tower's going to spark. So, ready?
Yep. Yep. Perfect. So that was a very nice pulse of the test light. And we go down here, do the same thing, and I'm sure our test light won't do anything. So, where are we going here? Either ignition module or inputs?
Well, if we were parts jockeys, you would throw an ignition module on it. However,
Pretty safe bet.
yeah, pretty safe bet. Yeah, it's highly unlikely you have a bad input, but you know what we got to do right now? We got to stop to see if you made that video. All right, so I just looked. Ivan did not end up shooting a video on that. It was actually a shop that he went to. It was his first time there, so he didn't want to, go in there like a lunatic with a camera. As you know, we all are. But anyhow, he had this Buick 3.8. Same thing, no spark, swap coils, no spark, and the shop had thrown some parts at it, modules, coils, the whole spiel, and it ended up being a bad input to the ignition module. So this is why we're actually going to go the extra step, for what it takes to check inputs. We're going to check inputs, make sure everything's there, and then he's firing up his Veris. He does have this waveforms that he saved, so assuming we get these and the waveforms are good, we'll share with you what a suspect known bad can be. And it was a pretty rare circumstance, but it is plausible, so that's why you have to test, not guess. So I went ahead and I pulled this up, some wiring diagrams. I've got us a connector end view of this ignition module, and basically on this, we're just going to be checking the inputs, so our major inputs. We've got our crank sensor. I do not have the cam sensor labeled out yet, but I'll go ahead and highlight the cam sensor signal. So we're going to be checking cam and crank inputs. So this crank sensor is pretty unique.
It's like a dual.
Yep, it's a dual Hall effect. So it's a 4-wire Hall effect sensor. Has actually two magnetic rings, two ferrous rings on the crank shaft. So an inner ring and an outer ring. The outer ring is what they consider an 18X ring. So it's going to be 18 evenly spaced pulses all the way around. No sync signal on it. No open gap. And then for a sync, it uses an inner ring on the crankshaft balancer, and that's considered a 3X. And you would kind of think in your mind, if you're an analytical thinker, like how can just 3 pulses sync it? But the 3 pulses are varying widths. So, simple way to put it, you got a skinny one, a medium one, and a fat one.
Yeah.
And
we'll show them a picture.
Yeah, you'll see it on the waveform. And what's unique about it is that allows, because of the system, because it's actually synchronizing off the crankshaft, it allows these cars to start very quickly. So anybody that has a 3.8, they know that like you just breathe on the key, these things fire up. And having this 3X signal allows it to identify cylinder identification within 120 degrees of crankshaft rotation, as opposed to a camshaft sync where it takes 720 degrees of crank rotation. So I assume that's why these start so fast. But basically the wires we're going to go after is the 18X signal, the 3X signal, and then the camshaft signal. I'm not 100% positive if the cam sync plays a role.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
I think that's just for like injection, whatever.
Yeah, it's sequential injection.
Sequential, yeah.
Yep. So we'll grab it just because we're there. Got our connector view. Of course, I got to add the extra one on here for the cam.
That's J.
It's been J. What color do we got? Brown with a white stripe, so we'll add that on there. We're going to use the Pico. We're going to come right here. It's conveniently located right here. Now,
poke some holes, or?
Yeah, we'll probably poke some holes. You know, that way we can rule out pin fitment issues.
What Eric just bought here.
Yeah, I do have. Oh yeah.
Oh, he's stocked up on.
Yeah, stocked up on the old back probes, call them back probes, wire piercers.
These are approved by Keith DeFazio in Staten Island.
Yeah, those are the only ones he'll use. So of course, if we poke some wires, yes, we're gonna fix it. You know, you gotta be good. You can't be a slob.
Yep.
But what I was gonna say, experience has taught me in the past with these. I don't know if you've seen it yourself, Ivan. Wire and harness burning up on top of the radiator hose. Have you seen that yet on these?
No, not really.
So yeah, I ran across that as a young rookie tech. You know, it was uncommon. Yeah, I think they would sit there and chafe on top of the hose and then perhaps short and melt out. So that's a common foul
visual
point on
inspection,
these.
there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, we should be good. All right, guys, so we're all hooked up. We have 18X crank. We've got our 3X crank. Our green tray is going to be our cam. And then Ivan suggested throwing a current clamp on the power feed to it so we can see the current ramp of the coils or the lack thereof.
Yep. You got 4 channels, why not use them?
Yeah, that's right. We've got our little diagnostic cart. Fresh from Staten Island out of the dumpster. Works perfect. So we'll come here and crank it. And on our screen here, we just kind of divvied them up. We do have a trigger set, so as soon as we get our crank signal, it's going to start to run. And I'm going to go ahead, see if we can get it to start just by reaching in. Ready?
Yep.
Getting a waveform, is it? Okay. I'll shut it off. All right, kill the lights on this thing. All right, get you guys set up. We'll have a look. So there.
All right, we got some waveforms. Let's zoom in and see what we have.
So blue 18X, 3X, cam, and then that should be our current ramp. At the bottom.
Yep, so skinny, medium, fat, that's our 3X signal. That's our 18X. This is our cam, right? The green trace?
That should be our cam trace. And then
bring that up a little bit. And then our current, right down here. So, I guess since we're using the Pico, we can easily say what 720 is. So, judging by the 3X signal, there's 1 revolution, there's 2 revolutions, so that should be 720.
So you're going skinny, skip a skinny, and then on a skinny.
Yep, and just to verify that, does that make sense? We have 1 cam pulse. So see, that's 720. The camshaft rotates once every 720.
And you could use your cursors if you wanted to, you know, cam pulse to cam pulse. That's 360 cam, 720 crank.
Yep, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, either way, either way.
We can do that.
Okay, so yeah, makes it a little simpler.
So let's zoom in a little bit further, just on this 720 event, like so. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we note that there's something going on each time we have a current ramp. There's some glitch or interference on our cam and crank signals.
Yeah,
interesting. But so looking at our current ramps, 6-cylinder engine, right? In 720, how many current ramps should we have, Eric?
720 on 6-cylinder, you better have 6.
We're firing all 6 cylinders, right?
Even waste spark.
Yep. So how many do we have?
Let's see, at the beginning of that, you just have 2.
So we have 2.
2 current ramps.
And then here we see where there should be 1. There's like a little step. We're missing one here. We have another little step there, and it looks flat right there, right?
Yeah. Must have to zoom in on that, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we definitely have.
I mean, we can scale that up a little bit. Let's see, bump that up, drag it up. So we're just trying to look for that little There, you can see it now.
Okay, yep, yeah, pretty evident.
Well, actually, you can almost see another one here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one there you can, yeah. Probably if you zoomed in on it, you'd see some micro.
Yeah, but in any case, what the heck? We're missing 4 of the 6 current ramps.
6, but you had 4 to 6, so.
What? I don't get it. I thought
You had spark on 4
yeah,
towers.
we had spark on 2 coils, and it seems like it's running decent, like at least 4 cylinders, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started it. I wouldn't imagine it could run on 2.
Yeah, you wouldn't think.
But you see, wait a minute. So 720. 1,
Yep.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we should have 6 even humps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 720. But we only have 2. And just for kicks, I want to see what that current value is. Let's see. Get our cursor up here.
Yeah, and these are what would be considered, it's a current limiting type ICM. So you're not going to have your standard, straight, nice triangular shaped current ramp. So it's not uncommon to see them, flat across the top when, the ICM in this case, pulls the current away or pulls the voltage away. So
let's drop it back down. So we just want to measure, what is our peak current on one of these hump peaks. Let's see right there. So there's our cursor. Almost 14 amps. Jeez, that for an ignition coil, usually your ballpark of like 10 amps max, 8 to 10.
Yep, and that's going to be it's going to be determined by the ICM. If it's not current limited, it's going to be determined by the primary resistance.
Right.
I actually have a known good current ramp on these.
Do you have that window open?
Nope. Double. Here, close that down. Or
Oh, let's just go to another window. Beta. But bottom line here is, what is the scope telling us? How many firing events do we have in 720?
2.
Just 2.
2. There's no
So
scope data doesn't lie.
Scope, yeah, we have 2 firing events, but we had 4 live towers. Like we think we're running on 4 cylinders. That's messing with my head right now. How is that possible?
I would. The funny part is, I told when I was talking to the customer that I highly doubt that it's running on 2 cylinders because I didn't think a 6-cylinder would start on 2 cylinders.
So let's see. Let's pull up you had a known good.
Yep.
Let's see recent files. Was it this guy? Current ramp?
Yeah, it should be because that's a 2000. Yeah, so I was digging those out when we were loading up the scope. Yeah, you probably just have to
zoom out.
Yeah, zoom out on that. It should be, that's off a couple years older, but it should be the same system.
Yeah, same. So they've used this system for forever. So if we pull a cursor down here on those peaks, we're about 9 amps.
All right, what were you on this one?
14 amps. So we don't have a sync on here, so we don't exactly know. But this is a known good
waveform. It's known good. Yeah, current ramp at an ICM. I remember taking that. It was way back when I first got my Pico.
So in this case, our 720 would be 6 humps, right? So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be 720 in this case. That's what it should look like.
What it should look like. Yep, because you got 6 events. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep.
And ours looks like that.
But the amperage is
high amperage.
Not double, but it's pretty damn close.
And we only have 2 firing events. So is it possible that it is running on 2 cylinders?
Well, I mean, it has to be. I mean, you have 2. So let's say cylinder. So coil pack 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that is a single event.
So you look at this and you would say we have 2 dead coil packs.
2 dead coil packs.
But we just did the the scanner Danner spark test and we saw 2 live coil packs.
And you got nasty spark coming from each one.
Yeah, right. So the only conclusion we can possibly draw from this is that those 2 coil packs are firing at the exact same time. So there's no way it's running
There's
on
no
four
other.
cylinders.
Well, so the elevated, you would get that assumption because there's the hypothesis because the elevated current
Yep, that's one
and the fact
piece of
that
data. We have no other
it-
ramps.
in sync there's no other ramps
Yeah.
because three coil packs, would be 3 events and then 3 events and 3 events every 360.
Bizarre.
That is super bizarre. It's interesting what it's doing to the other. So you're saying potentially the transistor inside the ignition control module
Yep.
is turning on both coils at the same time.
The 2 top coil packs, I think, are being energized at the same time. And there's no way, so we can only possibly have 2 contributing cylinders in this case, because then the other 2 would be out of time.
Four plugs are firing. So two
Yep.
coils are firing.
Yep,
Only one's firing at the correct time.
exactly, because
And we're getting no backfiring through the intake. We're getting no.
and it actually idles on its own.
It's not laboring.
Yeah.
No banging.
So where do we go from here?
Oh. So if you guys are following along, I guess what, and hopefully you are, is that, we show here that scope data doesn't lie. The car has to be 100%, no questions asked, running on 2 out of 6 cylinders.
2 out of 6.
However, the hypothesis that we can draw from this with the elevated current ramp, so it's not double, it's obviously still being current limited to some degree, is both of those coils are firing at the same time, but only one of them's firing at the right time. And, it would be pretty tough to draw that conclusion based off of just looking at them smart.
Exactly.
Because there's no other audible indicators say, you typically, if your spark timing is off, it's going to happen at the wrong time. You're going to get backfire and stumbling. It's going to, when you go to crank it, if it's, really it's going to come up hard against the starter. Perhaps maybe, I was saying maybe, just in my head, I was thinking maybe that's why this car cranks hard, but battery's only at like 11 volts, so.
So that spark timing for the wrong coil is 120 degrees out of sync.
Yep.
Because it's a
120
V6.
degrees out of sync. Yep. Every 120 degrees you get an event. That is,
Now
I don't even know what to say.
next, I want to know which 2 cylinders this thing's running on. Is
Right.
it the top coil pack? Is it 6 and 3 or 2 and 5?
And I guess another thing we can say right now is basically once you've seen this, it's game over. The ignition module's bad. There's no doubt about
Because
it.
our inputs look clean, they're all there, they're not missing any, humps.
So you would agree ICM is bad.
Yeah, the diagnosis.
Diagnosis is done.
ICM is bad. Fine.
However, what it's doing is pretty unique.
I've never seen an ICM fail like this. Usually it just cuts out and drops out of coil, right?
We should call Keith. Say, have you seen this? Because the guy's seen everything.
That'd be cool. Like hangouts call or
Yeah.
something.
Have you seen this? So,
Yeah.
easiest way to do this is find out is it 3.6 or 2.5. We already got one unbolted.
Pull it off and see if it runs.
Yeah. So, and that would prove
And
You know.
we'll set up the scope again. It'll see if our current is half
it should,
value or whatever.
Theoretically, it should be. You remove the coil, the pattern should stay the same. The overall current value should be reduced, back to either 7 or perhaps half or whatever this is, 7 or 9, however this is working.
Right.
So that's interesting. Let's turn the camera on. We'll start the car on.
We'll just pull the 2.5
Yeah,
coil.
pull 2.5 bolts are already out of it. We'll just pull it out with it running. If it stays running,
Sounds like a plan.
there it is. So that's what we'll do.
All right.
So Ivan is we saved our pattern. He's got the scope running. I'm gonna start the car. We're gonna take a gamble. We rolled the old diagnostic dice. It says the 2.5 is bad.
So what are the outcomes? If we pull it and the engine stalls, what does that mean?
That's the contributing coil.
2.5 is contributing.
If
If
we-
we pull it, nothing happens.
Yep. And then we should see our live data, our current ramp be reduced.
We should see something, yeah.
Yep. So we'll see if we can't get it running. Ready?
Yep.
It's really hard to believe that's running on 2 cylinders.
We're gonna pull this off, right?
Yep.
Ah!
Look at that, first try. So now,
So what happened to our current ramp?
it doesn't look like a change from here.
Let it hang.
Car's no change in the way it ran.
Pause that. Zoom it in.
Oh, dude, the current didn't change.
Didn't change?
No, Well, you're still at 13 amps.
So how the hell is the other coil firing?
Pull that 1.4 off there. I mean, that one's deader than a door now, right? The 1.4, that's not doing anything. Right.
It's definitely running at 2 cylinders.
Current ramp stayed the same.
Well, I
Oh, you paused it. Yep. Yeah, you just do that later.
Is it gonna dry?
Are you zoomed in? Yeah, you're zoomed in. You gotta wait for it to draw. Exit out of that. Yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
Now it's reduced.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so right now, move your cursor down. Your current is reduced, and all we've done is remove the 1.4.
Are you kidding me? Now it's at 10 amps?
Let me plug the 1.4 back in. So, I think what's happening, I think it's saturating that primary. Yep, look at this. Yep.
Yeah, it went up 4 amps higher.
Yeah, so go ahead and pause that and put that back. So it's saturating that primary coil,
Are you kidding me?
but it's not enough to fire it. I'll be damned. So there it is. Right there's the event. So we plugged in a non-functioning coil.
Yeah, so the current went up 4 amps.
Yep.
So answer me this, Eric. How the heck were we getting spark on that middle coil?
I gotta shut this thing off. Yeah, go ahead and take the wires out. We're gonna verify that we still have spark on this middle coil. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. You got your fingers on it so you can tell me? I heard it. Ready?
Go ahead.
Is it sparking?
Wow!
Is
It's sparking the hell out of it, but it's not starting anymore. Right?
Yeah, hook the spark plug wires back up. I thought it was just going to be a simple, we're in and out video. We're out drinking beer and having dinner here, but. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
You got the throttle? Can you grab the throttle? Or is she hidden?
Oh, I can pop the, here, let me just take the
Yeah, take that cover off. That way I ain't got to go inside the car. Okay, yep, you ready?
Yep, go for it. No change, right?
No. I tell you what, go run the scope live. We'll leave that coil on. I'll take off 1 and 4. Go ahead and zoom back out. All right, so I'm going to take off 1 and 4, and we're going to see if our gets reduced. I just started running better.
Started running better?
Yeah.
Well, now it's probably running at 2.5.
It is.
Now it's intermittent.
Yeah, but if I plug 1.4 back in, what's your current at right now?
Now we have more ramps, though.
We're getting more ramps now. So the 1.4 is taking it down.
Wait, you take the 1.4, it's off right now.
Yeah, 1.4 is off right now.
So let's pause it. Pause.
You gotta click on the screen.
Okay, let's go back to our
Yeah, because now
20. It's running pretty smooth now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's our
extra ramps.
So from, let's see, from cam to cam is 720. Sure enough, yeah, our ramp came back and the value is 10 amps.
That is super cool, but if we plug the 1.4 in, it shorts it out. Oh yeah, don't worry about it. All right, I'm gonna plug 1.4 back in. If I can get it here. There it is.
Yeah, we lost it.
Yep. Amperage increases and we lost it. Toolbox tour time.
No, I think it takes out the 2.5.
Hold that down. Come on. Yeah, I ain't gonna get you.
There's gonna be absolutely no spark on that. Bingo.
So when we did our initial spark test,
And look, so take this off and do that again. Well, obviously it's running, but
yeah.
yes!
How we did?
That was cool, man.
Yeah, it was cool. All right, so you got to refresh my memory here, Ivan. When we did our initial cranking spark check on these,
Yeah.
didn't we have all the coils hooked up?
We had everything in place, we just had all the spark plug wires off. And
Okay.
we saw spark on 6 and 3 and 2 and 5.
And how come we don't have spark there now with the engine running?
Say that again, with all the coils in
With
place?
all the coils in place, with the car running, we don't have spark, but didn't we have it when we were cranking?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I'm slightly confused here. So perhaps, in the defense of the shop that looked at this is why they called 2 coils.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, perhaps they told him, you know, they told him that coil was bad and that coil was bad and that one was good and the ignition module was bad. That was their assessment, plus it needed all the plugs and wires. So checking this running, we have spark on 2 cylinders. Checking it cranking, we have spark on 4 cylinders.
That's what it seems like.
Yep,
We
okay.
can, you know, backtrack a little bit and just take the spark plug wires off again and crank it and see if it's still consistent.
Yeah, unless something's happened just, you know, from, you know, heat.
So is it possible that one of the coils is like the 1-4 is shorting and drawing too much current and that's confusing the ignition control module?
I mean, we can just ohm test them, but.
You know, we can do an ohm test. We can just also swap these 2 around.
Right, yeah, certainly, yeah.
Just to see if the same thing happens.
Yep, same thing happens,
If we take
yep.
the bottom coil out.
Oh man, I think we lost our exhaust hose. I don't think we gave her any rev ups, did we? Nah, she's still on. She must have some holes in the old muffler. The old O2, she's getting pretty rough. I see some. She's gotta be rough. She's a little crusty over there.
Alright, so fire it up, and if the coils are all the same, if we take this one off, it should run better.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's start this little girl up.
Holy shit.
You okay?
Do I have the right plug wires on?
I don't know. It sounded like you didn't. You're not going by coil numbers, are you?
No.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, you are. No, you're not. 2.5. Yeah.
So 2.5 should be on here,
2.5
right?
is
So
in the
this
middle.
is 2,
Yep.
and that's 5.
Oh yeah. Little mix up there. Never trust a rookie.
Gosh. I didn't have to cause any permanent damage then to the starter.
No, you didn't.
Turn.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Gotta pull this guy off.
Good, run smooth. There it is. No,
There's nothing wrong with our coil.
nothing wrong with the coils at all. That is super. I've never seen
I'm
that.
like, oh, take that one off, no big deal, right?
Yep.
Take that one off, no big deal. Put that one back on. On right there.
That is wild, man. That ignition module is confused. That is cool. Yeah, man, that is super cool. I have never seen that, you know,
It
ever.
runs smooth either way.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I got to be honest with you. I would, if you asked me if that engine were on 2 cylinders, I would
It's
tell you.
always one, you know, on each bank.
Yeah.
You have 2 on 2 and 1 on 1.
Yeah, I would have never assumed that it would have ran on 2 cylinders.
Right.
Not just reach in, hit the key, run. You
Yeah,
know, no way.
that's a Buick for you. 3.8.
Yeah, dude, these old 231s are fantastic engines.
They are.
So, yeah, it's too bad GM had to ditch it. That and the 5.7, another great engine.
Yeah, and then we went to the Eco, what are the ones where the timing chains always stretch?
Oh, the Ecotex.
Ecotex, not Eco Boost,
Yeah, dude,
Ecotex.
those things are money makers. Love those. Love those.
Love
engines. Love those. That 3.6, man. GM, thank you for making that 3.6.
3624, whatever.
Time and chain every 36,000 miles. Count on it. So I guess because it is 8 o'clock at night, we're not going to be able to get the parts and prove it to you tonight. However, it is 100% definitive. Ignition module's bad. It's not an input problem.
Or a coil problem.
Yeah, or a coil problem. So this guy needs an ignition module. On these, you have to buy an OEM. If you get the crap,
Yeah.
BWD, that thing it's what?
Broke when delivered.
Yeah, broke when delivered. Yeah, that's right. But how long is BWD ignition coil or standard motor products or Eklund? They all come out of the same crap factory. But you put them on here, 2 weeks tops. It's going to be back.
That's it?
Yeah, oh yeah, guaranteed.
Wow.
So, and the other bit of advice, OEM only, clean the mounting pad that it sits on.
Is that the
oh yeah,
ground?
get all the crap off it, yep.
So that's
So
the ground for
I'm,
the main.
I'm not 100% sure it's ground, but it's always corroded. And I think it has some, role to play in maybe, perhaps heat transfer, but, I've seen so many repeat failures on these ignition modules.
Have you seen the insides that kind of melt and goop?
Because I've seen one goopy, I've taken them off where they're nothing but white pus.
Oh, okay.
So, did you see that fuel pump module I took off that Ford today? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, they're cracking down.
Yeah, dude, that thing was awesome.
quick dad.
Thing still ran. So.
I actually have the reverse fired up. Maybe I can.
Oh yeah. So I did look. Ivan did not do a video on that. We're going to show you what a vehicle. He had one came in. The story behind it. The car ran. How many cylinders was it missing? Was it missing 2 or just a single cylinder?
It was missing the 2.5.
Okay.
Middle coil was not firing.
Yep. Super common on these. If a coil is going to go bad or ignition module, it's always the 2.5.
Apparently.
Yep. Apparently. So he went to a shop. They coil. They did ignition module.
They did all the standard stuff.
So Ivan went there doing a test like what we would do. They've already changed the parts, so obviously you're going to check inputs.
Exactly.
And 9 out of 10 times you don't see anything bad. However, he has a perfect waveform to show why. Why do we do this? Why do we go through that test? Why wouldn't we just slam a $150 module on it?
Yep.
He's going to show you why, and we'll just throw it on there for a little bit.
A little bonus material.
I call it Free Tip Friday. On a
Very
Friday.
nice.
Yeah, Free Tip Friday, baby. All right, go ahead and explain your case.
All right, so this was on a 1990 Olds 88 with the same 3.8 setup. And in my case, like Eric said, the 2.5 coil is not firing. It was a 2-cylinder misfire. And I did similar checks. There's the coil current ramp on the power wire going into the ignition module. And you can see here something's definitely wrong. One ramp is at like 6 amps, the other one's at 10. And here is the ignition pattern off of a spark plug wire on the 1.4 coil. See, it says it there, 1.4. So you might ask, why is the 1.4 coil firing on 2 humps in a row? That kind of threw me off too. I had no idea. Because that coil was firing twice as often as it needed to.
Yeah, it should be every third, right?
So yeah, it was contributing, but it was also firing twice as often, and our 2.5 was dead. Like with no control at the 2.5 coil. So then I did a cam crank correlation.
I would just make a quick observation. Rookie mistake could easily be, even though I know you're on one wire, you can look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's sparking at the right time. Coil saturates, fires the secondary, looks good.
Yeah, I mean the coil.
You're on just a single wire.
Nothing's wrong with the coil. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, this isn't a bundle of spark plug wires. This is just the 1.4 coil.
Yeah.
So it should be sparking on every third hump. It's sparking on 2 consecutive humps, missing 1, 2 consecutive humps.
On the same cylinder.
On the same cylinder, exactly. So this coil was buzzing. It was like.
That thing's like a 2-stroke.
Yeah. And the other was the 3.6. That one was normal.
Okay, that was firing when it was.
That was firing normally. Yep. So it might be an input problem, right? Since they already swapped some parts, and that didn't help. So let's go to our.
How did the car run? Interrupted. Did the car run?
Yeah, it ran a 2-cylinder misfire.
No power on the intake. No funny business.
Nope, not at all. So here is the 3X signal like we just saw in this car. And here's our 18X. Now, when I did the diag, I actually didn't know what a known good looked like. I'm like, oh, that must be a sync notch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, it'd be easy to do. It's very systematic.
But check this out. Yeah, it's not like, or you're missing a tooth, because it's occurring very systematically on every crankshaft revolution, right?
360, yeah.
On every fat pulse, we see basically a sync notch on our 18X.
And it just so happens to fall right over top of that fat mark.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I think that's no good, but I did some research and everything was saying 18X, no, like 18 even
spaced, yeah.
even humps, no 18 minus 1 or something like that. So I'm like, all the information is telling me this should be, even 18 humps. Why am I seeing this? And it's very systematic. And also this car was kind of making a weird rattling noise. So I got my headlight out and I looked down at the crankshaft pulley and there's a nice stripe, nice shiny stripe right on the reluctor wheel.
Oh, okay. You could see it because you can see the 18X.
Yeah, yep,
wheel.
you can see the teeth on there. And I'm like, well, it looks like the crankshaft position sensor is hitting the reluctor wheel. But we're not missing any teeth. I barred the engine over.
Yep.
You know, it's not like, you know, a tooth cracked off and getting a bad signal. How the heck was the electronic signal missing, you know, every single crankshaft revolution? There's some theories on that. We actually talked to Paul Danner about this. He's pretty knowledgeable on the GMs.
And we're driving down to Eric Carter.
Right. And he said that whenever both, you know, the 18 and the 3X, when they both pull the signal down, it kind of loads up the crank sensor, and there's just not enough, whatever, voltage, or it just doesn't pull that one step down, even though there's a physical metal tooth there and everything. So end of the day, a new crankshaft position sensor, you know, gapped properly, fixed this vehicle.
Yep.
But the symptoms are so similar to what we had here.
That's similar to a bad coil, bad ignition module.
Yeah, because you know
You had
this.
a double fired event.
Yeah, I had all my ramps though,
Yeah.
but some of them are higher than they're supposed to be, and one coil is firing twice as often as it was supposed to be. So again, this turned out to be a crank sensor. In this case, it's an ignition module.
Yeah.
But just.
That's super. That's a fantastic case study right there.
Yeah, I wish I had the camera rolling for that one, but at least we get a little overview on.
Yeah, no, it's good to, I'm glad
Eric's
that you
video.
got to share that. And, you know, just so you guys know, this is the kind of stuff Ivan has on his channel. Like I say, definitely check the description box, and you know, I'll put a link to his channel for you guys. Most of you guys on my channel know him, know that we're, you know, friends and stuff like this. So I find this stuff just absolutely fascinating. You know.
Yeah, just to dig a little deeper. I mean, on this one, I got the waveforms. I'm like, I left the shop and I didn't know what to make of it. And then once I got the info, I'm like, I got to go back to this thing. And then, you know, second time around, nailed it. And they put a crank sensor on it. Everything was good to go.
Yeah, these are an adjustable air gap crank sensors. You got to be careful putting that harmonic balancer in off.
Right. And you can't use an aftermarket balancer either, because those little windows, they're slightly off.
Yep. Yeah, don't use no dormant crap.
You're going to have problems.
We all know dormant's junk.
So that's another cool capture. You see the missing tooth and also the low amperage spike there. It was just, the ICM was confused with when to fire these ignition coils. So, I mean, it's just like, you know, it's firing kind of at the right time, but it wasn't firing the right one.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say with this too is, you know, this is where service information is good. You kind of got to believe your data. You know, when service information says it's 18 evenly spaced humps, you gotta believe it. At least investigate it. You know, that's the information you have. And you know, I mean, it's right about the cam sensor saying, you know, 3 uniquely spaced. You know,
absolutely
skinny, medium, fat. You know, and it's dead on. So, but when you look at it, it's too perfect.
Yeah, it's like perfect. Oh, I know I got a sync notch. I mean, it's occurring every crankshaft revolution.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, particularly if you're not familiar with the car. You know, you've never thrown a cam crank waveform on one of these, and I guess that's why it's good to save your data.
Yep. So this is it is what it is, but yeah, it's and even the various component test meter told me it was 18X.
Yep.
I'm like, well, where's the sync notch? Is there supposed to be a sync notch?
Yeah, you kind of got to read the theory in operation to know that the 3X is the sync.
And when I physically saw 18 evenly spaced metal teeth on that reluctor wheel, I'm like, how is that physically possible?
Yeah.
How is that possible? I couldn't explain it. So apparently it has something to do with the electronics, you know, in there. When it gets weak, you can't pull both signals down at the same time.
Yeah. So there, you know, you can look at, you know, engineering stuff on Hall effect sensors and how they work, you know. So they, you know, on these they have a common power feed, a common signal ground, and 2 signal returns. So you know, it may, you know, reach its current limit.
So yeah, it couldn't pull that 18X down.
That's right.
In that one spot.
Yeah, because it's supplied 5 volts. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I haven't shared his case study, but there's one thing that's on my mind. So it's on his mind. Has Keith seen this? Because the guy has seen everything. And he actually has his own YouTube channels with 0 videos on it, but like 300 subscribers. And he told us that he'll make videos because this guy would have the best case studies.
In one day?
In one day.
He would have like 10 case studies.
Yeah, so he's a mutual friend of Ivan and myself, and he runs a mobile diagnostic business down in Staten Island. And the guy sees like the most craziest messed up stuff, and both Ivan and I enjoy going down there for half
Getting
week.
our asses kicked.
Yeah, half week or so at a time, and you go and see this stuff, and you think you're good, and then you just leave there like sheepishly with your tail between your legs.
Happens every time. But you still go back, right?
Oh yeah, you still go back, but I mean the car sound just mop the floor with you, and so we're gonna call him, and I just need to know if he's seen this. We're gonna embarrass him, and we're gonna try to get him 2,000 subscribers, so he'll make a video.
We'll have him by tomorrow.
Yeah. Hopefully he answers. He's probably.
Good level.
Yo, Keith, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, not too bad. Hey, I'm here with Ivan, and we're doing a YouTube video, and we just explained to the viewers that if we get you 2,000 subscribers, that you'll make us videos. But
Oh, okay.
so now you're obligated to that when you get 2,000
He's gonna bump it up
subscribers.
to 5 now.
That's not a problem. Not a problem. I'm a man of my word.
All right, yeah, we know you are. But so we explained to them, that you get to see all this crazy stuff in Staten Island. We're working on a 2002 Buick 3.8. Car came in, and some misfires, a couple cylinders dead. And what we have discovered is the ignition control module is double firing one coil, right? Is that how you would explain it?
So
Okay.
initially,
just say
back up a little bit. So we just pulled all the spark plug wires off and cranked it over, right? And the top 2 coils, we had nice strong spark, and the bottom one was dead.
So 3, 6, 2, and 5 spark while you crank it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're following along. We start
I'm with you.
we start the car, and you no longer have spark.
And it runs, right? It runs.
Yeah, the car starts and runs.
And on our scope, we only have 2 out of 6 current ramps in 720 degrees.
2 out of 6.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's effectively running on 2 cylinders.
But when we crank it,
Alright.
it sparks on 4. So that's pretty
But when
good.
you crank it, it sparks on 4. When it tries to run, where it does run,
The car starts and runs.
On 2 cylinders.
When you start and
it
run.
runs,
Yep.
but it's firing 2 coils at the same time.
Well,
So this is where it gets kind of tricky. So it's kind of bizarre. So we start the car, it starts and runs. It's only running on 3 and 6. If we remove the 1-4 coil, 2-5 starts working. And I guess our question for you is, have you ever seen it? Because we claim to the people that you've seen everything.
I actually have encountered that before. I've actually had a coil that actually was pulling a little bit too much amperage and causing something very similar to that. So when you looked at the current ramps on them would be higher than they were when you actually disconnected the other coil.
oh man.
Now that I've seen.
That is 100% what we have, and that's exactly what happens.
And we're calling it ICM.
Yeah, we're calling the ICM. So what you're saying is potentially the coil that's pulling too much amperage could be taken down another one?
That's correct.
Now on that current ramp, we're at 10 amps for 1 coil. Is
Yeah,
that right?
single coil pulling about 10 amps.
Okay, and that's when it's in the bad mode. When it's in the good mode, it should be somewhere about 6 to 7.
Huh.
Is that about right?
Well, so when it sits here running, like if we remove 1 and 4 and 2 and 5 and just let the car run on 3 and 6, we're pulling what, 9 amps?
I think we're on
Yeah, about 9 amps with the car running.
That still sounds high.
That's
Yep, and this is all original coils on here, right? No one's been tinkering?
Yeah, you know it. Original coils, original plugs, original wires. See, we hate.
All right.
That's why we hate calling you. Because now we gotta go back and retest.
Sorry, gentlemen.
damn it, Keith.
One piece left of the puzzle.
Yep. So one piece left of the puzzle. You would say take the 3.6, swap it with another coil, and see if the amperage draw is still just as high, or ohm test, because it's a current limiting.
It is supposed to be current limiting, which might actually be gone by now. the current limiting may not be working as it should. And they'll still cap off, but they just they cap off at a higher amperage, which is not what it's supposed to do. That's typical, by the way, with the aftermarket ones, the non-AC Delco ones. So that module may have been replaced sometime in the past.
Look at this.
But again,
On the side of the module, is that GM?
too much amperage. That's generally what would cause that.
Okay, yeah, looking at the ignition module, it appears to have factory writing on it still, the screws were all super rusty, it hasn't been touched in a very long time, if anything.
But in Avoca, you could be super rusty in a year.
Everything here gets rusty in 2 weeks. So I guess with that being said, you thinking that the current limiting portion of the ICM could be bad, would it be best to ohm test the coils then and just to see?
I would ohm test. I would ohm test the coils before I do anything else. I mean, yeah, in the end here, I do believe you guys are going to end up with a set of coils at this point. But it'd be good to know which one was the one that was actually causing that higher amperage draw.
So a set of coils and an ICM, since it's not limiting correctly anymore?
That's correct, yeah, and one of those coils is the one that's causing it, but as you know, domino effect, they're all going to start doing the same thing, unfortunately.
Wow.
D555 coils. In case you don't know the AC Delco part number.
You're an animal, Keith, and now both Ivan and I are here, and we're basically embarrassed because we felt like champions actually diagnosing this, but as always, you beat us back down a little.
Sorry, guys.
And I may edit this part out. I'm not really sure, but hey, I was just doing what Ivan was telling me to do. So basically, I was just going to suggest this to him, but I'm using this as a learning lesson.
But still, that was one of my suggestions.
Well, I look forward to seeing the rosy cheeks in the video. I appreciate it.
My cheeks. How do you know they're dude? How do you know everything? I'm just going to hang up on you now. All right. It was good talking with you, Keith.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it, pal.
Have a great night, guys.
Yeah, you too. See ya. Dude, that guy, he just pisses me off. He's a fantastic friend to have, but you get pretty humbled. You hang out with him, he puts you back in your place.
So you tell me AAA was right, ICM and two coils?
Dude, they didn't know that. Come on. So anyhow, real quick before we end the video,
You might get an ohm meter out.
yeah, we're gonna yank them off, ohm test them real quick, and see.
What's no good though?
We're gonna have to look. Isn't that frustrating?
Every time, man.
Dude, every time. You'll be there working on a car. Just a quick story. So we go up work on this car, and he sends you to go work on a car, and you're there for what, like 15 minutes, and all of a sudden he shows up. Hey, you check, you find out where that wire's broken. He gives you the ground location and the wire in the bracket that it's broke on, and he's right.
It happens every time.
Every
I know.
time, dude.
Absolutely.
All right. So anyhow, subscribe to Keith's channel. I'll put that in the link. Get this guy up to 2,000 subs, and he's gonna make videos. And we need these videos because they are gonna be valuable.
He's gonna put us out of business.
Oh yeah, he's gonna put us.
Fast.
Put it this way, I'm glad he's not in my area. Okay, so we're just gonna take and grab our resistance spec off from these. I've got our new Vantage Pro that I picked up used. A couple test leads. We're gonna check the primary resistance. And we're at 0.35 ohms on that coil. We'll shoot down the list. Keith made the suggestion that perhaps one of the primary windings is starting to foul.
They're all exactly.
Yeah, and that one's 0.35 ohms. And the worst part is we can't find published information saying exactly what the primary circuit's supposed to be. 0.35 ohms. All three coils are 100% exactly the same.
So they're either all good or all failing.
Right, because the only thing I did find, quick Google search, because it's not, the factory spec gives you secondary resistance, 5 to 8,000. The only thing published I found said, 0.5 amps, or 0.5 ohms, 0.5 to 0.8 ohms. And the difference between a half an ohm and 0.3 ohms is almost 20 amps, So, but it's a current limited device, is our current, a little bit high, as Keith suggested, or knew what it was doing through his magical powers. Is it results of three coils starting to fail? I guess the only way to know this spec, primary spec, is call GM, have them send me a coil, or three, just to have, just in case. And if they are, if I check a brand new AC Delco coil, and it's at this point, whatever this was, 0.35 ohms, I'm going to assume these are good. If it's at a half an ohm, like I say, that's almost double the amperage. You know,
Right.
it doesn't sound like much. Oh, 0.3 ohms or 0.5
Yeah,
ohms.
but at that low.
Yeah, you're talking 22 amps versus, you know, 44, 42, whatever it ends up being. So that's pretty peculiar. So, needless to say, the ignition module is still junk.
Yes.
You know, the ignition module is toast.
Yes.
But, you know, is our coils, or are our coils, what caused it to fail? I don't know. It's to be continued. I'm still slightly embarrassed. And
That happens all the time.
I'm just glad you were here and we both got destroyed. Together, as friends. Again, we're going to say that's it. I think we've already been here once. Then we decided to make a phone call. So anyhow, so the end result's still the same. Ignition module's junk.
We can all agree on
Potentially,
that.
yeah, we all agree on that. Ignition module's toast. Potentially, we need 3 coils. I am going to order coils, you know, so I'm going to get some Delco coils. The number Keith rattled off. We're going to get those. I am going to check them and see if they're a half an ohm. I have no choice but to tell the customer that, you know, yes, it
That's
needs
what
a,
caused the module.
absolutely, yep. And if you do the math, you know, Ohm's law, you know, difference between 0.3 ohms, difference between 0.5 ohms is substantial. And even though the ignition module has the ability to current limit it, you know, does that make a huge difference when that inrush current is, you know, 40 amps versus 20 amps, you know, how quickly
It's just too hard for it to.
yeah, eventually it just, you know, overstresses it and out it goes. So, and I guess I would say that is the value of having a good friend like Keith, like Ivan, that, you know, when they know a little resource like that and they share it with you, you know, you can stop and, you know, not get burned.
The big pool of knowledge.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
we could put an ICM in it. It'll probably run for years,
you
maybe,
never know.
until the next module fails.
Yeah, never know. So, you know, Keith, thanks. Be sure to check out his channel.
Yeah.
Like I said, get this guy up to 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I want to see a video from him.
Yeah, I want to see a video from him.
I don't care what it is, even if it's like a light bulb diagnosis, it's still going to be epic.
So Ivan and I talk to him every day. You know, we're always on Google Hangouts and sharing stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
And even like, you know, he had this case study yesterday. This freaking, what was it, Chevy Equinox that was firing 3 injectors through the valve cover, but it wasn't blowing the fuse because the valve cover is isolated on rubber mounts. You know, it's just like,
You don't see that
we just
anywhere
don't get to
else.
see that crap. And, you know, here it is, wire harness is rubbed through and it's shorter on the valve cover. And, you know,
Wow.
did you see the waveform he had?
No, I didn't.
Okay, yeah, he had this waveform and it's just every injector pulse, it would throw, throw the extra pulses.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
it was
yeah.
pulling the kickback current off the valve cover. You know, it's
Unbelievable.
just like, you know, we like to see that stuff, and you know, his videos would be great. So anyhow, check that out. Sure to check Ivan out in the description box, up on the screen. I've got all that stuff. And check us out, Google Plus, Facebook. You can find us there, and now on Patreon if you want to support the SMA channel. What we do, we greatly appreciate that. And just remember, viewers, if we can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.